Boys, welcome back to the channel, and today we have a bit of a different video. So, as a Pats fan, I've been recently getting asked a little bit about all of the Bill Belichick drama going on, and it all hits pretty close to home because the guy brought us 6 Super Bowls, one of the winningest coaches of all time, in my opinion, the greatest coach of all time. So, I feel like I need to make a video clearing up my opinion. So, I'll be answering 5 questions on the whole situation, but first, I want to give you guys my overall opinion. It just sucks. Like, he's the greatest coach of all time, and we could be moving on. He's the heart and soul of our franchise. He's been the face of it for a while, ever since Brady left. You could argue that he was the face of it when Brady was here, even though I would disagree with you. But he's always been up there with Tom Brady. It would be really painful to see him leave and take his talent somewhere else, just like Brady did. It would feel like him being a traitor, but at the end of the day, I think that decision would be made by Robert Kraft. I think Bill wants to stay here, as shocking as that may be. I think he wants to retire a Patriot. And also, the reasoning's messed up. Like, at the end of the day, he's a defensive coach, but he's being blamed for offensive issues, and Kraft apparently mutually deciding to part ways with Bill after his defense allowed 10 points. Doesn't seem smart, and he shouldn't be blamed for offensive issues. And I think just the entire scenario is pretty embarrassing. So let's get started with the questions. Question 1, should he leave? No, he's a defensive coach, and it's not his fault the offense is bad. He's known for keeping us in many games. He's brought us much historical success, and he's just a very talented coach, and here's an unpopular opinion. I think if we give him more time, he'll adapt to the current age, and if we find a QB, he'll be okay. But he's a notoriously bad drafter. But should he leave? My answer to that question is no. On to question 2. Is it justifiable? Yeah, I mean, I guess you could find a way to justify it. He is a notoriously bad drafter, which is something you need with a bad team. You need to be able to nail the draft, and over the last 10 years, all of our first-round picks have been either reaches, busts, or we had no pick. And with a team that's rebuilding, you really need to start nailing the draft, and we need to develop an offense, and he won't be that guy. Like I said, he's a defensive coach getting blamed for offensive issues, but I guess you could make the remark of we need to bring in an offensive mind to fix the stuff that happened over in Germany in week 10, I think it was. And he hasn't had recent success, so some people could see that as time to move on. I personally don't. He's won 6 Super Bowls, but someone could see that as time to move on. And I know that we want to keep him as a head coach and just have him not take on the GM role, but that would be pretty awkward for Kraft. So I think that would be pretty tough. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to acknowledge that this can happen. So, what are some good landing spots? So, I got 6 landing spots at the ready that I think are all possible. First, the Chargers. This is the obvious one. A lot of people have been talking about this. They need a defensive mind, and Herbert and Keenan Allen just need an offensive coordinator at this point. That isn't Kellen Moore. So, the defense needs a lot of fixing. That's pretty obvious after they got 63 points dropped on their head, but that was partially thanks to Brandon Staley. Bill Belichick is very good with defensive play calling. It's the reason the Pats have always consistently had a pretty good defense. So I could see him going to the Chargers and making that change. Also, the Falcons, they need a defensive mind. A.J. Terrell's like a Bugatti in a trailer park, but he could squeeze whatever juice is left out of all those Falcons players. And if they get Bill, that means they're firing Arthur Smith. So I think that just through that happening, addition by subtraction, their offense would probably get better because they'd use their playmakers. So he also wouldn't be GM, so they'd continue to be fine with drafting. I think the Falcons are just a good landing spot. They're continuing to improve. I could see him going there. Also, I thought about this one too. He could follow Brady and Gronk and go to the Buccaneers because the Bucs have a great roster. Baker's been playing well. They've got good pieces all around, a great pass rush, Levante David, but that roster's aging, and I think he could squeeze a ring out of them. they just need more success, and that's what they're not having with Lovie Smith. They've got a losing record. Next, we've got the Commanders as a possible landing spot. Yes, this is more of a rebuild, but he's got a young quarterback with an offense that is fine. He just needs to develop the defensive pieces. Emmanuel Forbes, some of those linebackers. Derek Forrest has potential, in my opinion. So the Commanders would be a fine spot for Bill Belichick. A lot of these teams, by the way, I think the most likely landing spot for him is the Chargers. But a lot of these teams, they could use him. Next, we got the Bears. Matt Eberflus has been doing a pretty horrible job as their coach. He got DJ Moore and just didn't use it. I think he is a defensive mind, but their defense has notoriously been bad. They got a young roster, but as I said, they have no defense, and they could use Bill for that. And finally, the Bills. Okay, this would be like a stab in the back, even though I'm kind of a Bills fan. It would be really difficult for me to watch him go there. But ever since that loss to the Eagles, the consensus opinion on McDermott has been that he isn't winning a ring in Buffalo, and they could use a guy who can. So I think Bill could squeeze whatever juices in that team, win a couple Super Bowls with Josh Allen. He's done well with great quarterbacks before, and the defense has good pieces. Bills could really use him. And finally, let's cut to the chase. Do I think he's genuinely leaving? No. Okay, this is a really unpopular opinion, but as a Pats fan, I just don't think he's leaving. It's a lot of historical success that would almost be thrown out of the window. It would be really difficult to just, have him do all those things, and then, you see Brady in a Buccaneers uniform, you see Bill Belichick with his coaching hat on the Chargers. Some things just don't feel right, and I think that's one of them. I've always envisioned him to retire as a Patriot, just feels wrong not to, like I said. I mean, I guess Brady didn't, and that never felt like a possibility, but I've always seen him retiring as a Patriot, and it would be also pretty embarrassing for the Pats organization to let go of one of the greatest coaches of all time. And it feels like it would almost be a power move by Kraft, because Kraft and Bill, they're friends, but they don't really like each other. I think as a Pats fan, I've continued to notice that. But I think Kraft knows it would be a really bad look to let go of Bill. And Kraft cares about his reputation, so I don't think he'd want to do it. And maybe I'm biased too, but I just wouldn't be able to wrap my head around the fact if he left. So I just don't want to see him leave. So I would never say yes, even if it looked really obvious, because I'm kind of biased, but I don't think he's genuinely leaving for the purposes of this video. So if you have finished this video about me ranting about Bill Belichick, thank you, boys. And it was a bit of a different video, but I want to see you guys comment your opinions on Bill Belichick in the comments below. Yes, of course, in the comments below. Where else would you comment them? But I will see you boys in the next video. Peace.